got a nice sized crowd, and that is wonderful. Monday Night March is my favorite night of the week at the Marsh. You don't know what you're gonna see. It's Monday Night March is a works in progress. People are, this could be their first time standing on stage rather than standing in the bathroom and talking into the mirror. Or maybe they're in the middle of reworking their piece. But you get to see it, you get to be here, and that's great. Tonight, our performers will be Max Langert, Timothy Flanagan, and Alan Sampson Manalo. But you know what? Let's clap for them. All right, a little pre-show business. The first thing I'll start with, this one. Make sure this is silenced, please. It's such a drag. It's been a while, at least in my time here, since someone's ringer went off in the middle of a show in a piece. And you don't want to be that person because everyone's staring at you in the dark. You can feel it. Don't be that person. All right. All right. And just so you know, came with the price of your ticket, 2 emergency exits. Right behind me to the left or the door you came in. We don't expect any emergencies, but that's how emergencies are. You never expect them, right? All right. One of the cool things about Monday Night March is that we do a Q&A with the performers at the end. So after our third performer, a super quick break, like maybe a minute, we'll bring 3 chairs out on stage, and all 3 performers will be here to take any questions that you might have about what inspired them to do their piece. Why do they do it on stage and not write a book? Anything like that, right? And what you enjoyed, what you might like more of. I'll just say, don't give directing advice. Every once in a while, somebody means well, and they turn into a director. That's not what we want. We don't need that kind of critique. But things you're curious about. I think you'll find we can have a really good back and forth. Okay. Finally, the Marsh does a lot of shows. We'll just give you a quick reminder about a main stage production that's been extended through February 22nd, right here on this stage. Dan Hoyle in Takes All Kinds, what he calls a fresh and urgent dive into America's current political psyche. A very relevant show given what awaits us all a week from today. Yes, I feel that. Alka-Seltzer's line up at the bar. All right. Anyway, Dan Hoyle, if you haven't seen him, he is a major US solo performer. We're really lucky. The Marsh is his home, but he travels all over the country and the world with his shows. Anyway, for more info on Dan's show and others that are running here and are going to be coming soon, check out the marsh.org website. And for those who don't know, we actually have a Marsh Theater over in Berkeley too. So both sides of the Bay are covered. All right, phones off. They're not going to ring. All right. Thank you, audience. Okay, our first performer is Max Langert in 9 Days Behind the Hollywood Sign. Living in Southern California the summer after graduating from college, Max decided to pursue a career in entertainment because that's what you do when you live down there. He made it in, but barely made it out back alive. Please welcome Max Langert.
Summer after I graduated from college, I was living in Southern California and decided that I'd pursue a career in the entertainment industry. I'd written a couple of short plays in college, one about Jesus, who comes back as a bag lady, another about a psychiatrist on a power trip, and discovered that I really like to write dialogue. I also had a part-time job where I'd drive vans full of exchange students to the Universal Studios tour, and I'd see their faces light up when we'd go on the set of Back to the Future, The $6 Million Man, and Jaws. And then just having grown up on sitcoms like Cheers and Frasier and Seinfeld, I wanted to be a part of all of it somehow or some way. It was the only thing I wanted to do. So I kept going to the career counseling center of my college to see if they had any leads about jobs with TV shows or movies. And one day they gave me a call and told me that there was a guy a very well-connected Hollywood personality who was looking for an assistant and needed this person right away. So I jumped into action. I put on the only good shirt that I had for my job waiting tables. I set up an appointment and I borrowed a car and drove up to a secluded part of the Hollywood Hills where this guy lives. I'm not going to tell you directly who this guy is for a couple of reasons. One, I feel sort of bad about the way things worked out. And two, I actually signed a confidentiality agreement that said I would never discuss anything that went on up there. But I will say that both his brother and his father are Academy Award winners, and yet this guy definitely is not. When I got up there, he asked me a flurry of questions in rapid fire succession that for some reason I wasn't really prepared for. What was the name of your boss here? What was the address here? Why did you leave this place? I did the best that I could, and he ended up hiring me on the spot, ostensibly to help him with a party he was getting ready to throw, a networking event, he told me, so people could get to know him better and maybe lead to work opportunities. He was in over his head and needed help with invitations, prep work, that kind of thing. But it turns out he needed a lot more help than that. I got started immediately, like right after the job interview. I got a tour of his house and of his office. And I remember in his dining room, he had just a wall of photographs, not so many of people, but of dogs. One dog in particular, a terrier with a twinkle in his eye. And then I saw in the middle of the shelf, he had a trophy and it said Shining Star Talent Agency, Best New Face. And this guy's name was below that. And I remember thinking it seemed ironic because his face wasn't really new at all. He looked so much like his brother and like his father who'd been in the industry for decades. The next morning, I quit my job waiting tables and I had my roommate drive me back up to this guy's house. And as he dropped me off, my roommate said, "So yeah, give me a call later if you want me to pick you up. I'll do what I can to come get you." And that's where things took a turn, because without a car or a cell phone at the time, I was at the mercy of other people to get around. I nervously brought this up with my new boss, let's call him Eric. And he said that I could stay in his guest bedroom as long as I was quiet and obeyed the house rules. Soon after that, he told me that if things went well with the party, he'd be hiring me full-time and taking me all over the world, New York, Europe, whatever, for film shoots and film premieres, as long as I played my cards right and stayed on his good side. I couldn't believe my good fortune. In less than 24 hours, I had basically gone from part-time waiter to full-time live-in assistant for a member of one of the most famous families in all of Hollywood. I was an overnight success. The work was nonstop. He had all these Post-it notes in his office that stuck out like peeling skin from a third-degree sunburn. And he wanted them all categorized and put into a day planner. Then he had this box that he dumped on the floor full of business cards and scraps of paper, and one of those categorized too. Everything from managers to agents to just cute girls that he met at a party. We worked late into the night. Eric's guest bedroom was small and comfortable. And right when I was getting ready to go to sleep that first night, he walks in his boxers and sits on the edge of my bed. And he says that while he appreciates the help and the hard work that I'm doing, he doesn't want us to get too close. Can be friendly, he tells me, but not friends. Maybe I'll buy you a beer from time to time. We can be buddy-buddy, but there need to be boundaries. I can teach you things. I could be a mentor, a brother, a father. But when we're working together, we need to be 100% professional. I looked at him there in his underwear. I locked the door as soon as he walked out. The next day we got up when it was still dark out, and he showed me where he keeps the coffee. I want that pot full at all times, he tells me, all times. Now, I had actually never had a cup of coffee before that day, no more than like a sip or two when I was a kid anyway. And I looked at Eric and how hyped up and frenetic he was all the time. And I thought, well, maybe if I drink some of this coffee stuff, I can match his energy. So I make a pot. He has half and I have half. Then I make another and another and another. And by 8 o'clock, my brain is wired like it's going to explode out of its skull. And I got so much done. An hour later, I was a machine, organizing, cleaning, faxing, brainstorming. We didn't get done till like midnight. I couldn't believe the day was over. The next day was more of the same, up before dawn, pots and pots of coffee, yelling, organizing, brainstorming, running around, whatever. And at some point in the middle of the day, I see Eric and he's kind of wired and edgy. And he catches my eye and he freezes. And he walks slowly up to me and says, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I tell him I don't know what he's talking about. He says, "Show some emotion, for fuck's sake. You're running around, you're doing a million things, upstairs, downstairs. It's insane. I know it is. And you're acting like a fucking robot. Say something, do something." And I tell him that this is how I handle stress. I internalize it and keep my head down. It's the only way that I can stay sane. "Yeah," he says, "yeah, I like that." Then he puts me in a headlock, squeezes tight. "You're a good guy," he says. "I like you. You're my rock. Goddamn rock." I push his arm away before I start to cough. I have to say that even though the work was stressful and difficult, there was something about it that appealed to me in a mysterious way. I felt that we were part of the most influential industry in the world. We were doing really important work, or so I wanted to believe. I was getting addicted not just to the caffeine, but to the industry. I didn't want it to stop. That night, Eric tells me that his girlfriend is coming over and he doesn't want me there. So he's going to send me to a hotel downtown and pick me up in the morning. Then he hands me a stack of videotapes of his performances that he wants me to watch to get to know him better. The town car picks me up and takes me to a seedy hotel on the Sunset Strip. The manager is expecting me and tells me that he has a room for me in the basement. And so I walk into this basement room and there's just one window where if you look out, all you can see is barbed wire and construction dirt. It feels like having a room at the bottom of a grave. I spend the next 3 hours watching these videotapes. There are film clips, interviews from things like Entertainment Tonight. I watch a movie called Crunch Team 4, The Jailbreak, which features various siblings of famous people in some kind of Middle East war setting. They're all firing AK-47s at brown-skinned people. It's horrific. And I watch these interviews, and invariably he's asked what it feels like to be a member of such a famous family. "It's totally cool," he says. "No pressure at all. I got it all under control." The next day, he picks me up in the morning and he takes me several blocks away to a much nicer hotel where we have breakfast. And he tells me we've got fucking shitloads of fucking shit to do. That day goes on like the last one had, and the next one too. And then the next night, he's actually got a stand-up comedy gig at the Comedy Store. The dude is working a lot of angles. He's a comedian, an action hero, a mentor, brother, boyfriend, entrepreneur, party thrower. And I have to say that I admire his tenacity and his ambition, if not his actual talent. A few hours before the show, he asks me to go over his routine with me, and he pulls me into his bedroom. "Take notes," he tells me. So I grab this legal pad that I've always got within arm's reach, and I sit on his mattress. And he proceeds to tell jokes about toilets and the smell of farts and the differences between men and women. When a man says he's tired, it means he's tired. When a woman says she's tired, it means, "No, you can't fuck me later." When I don't laugh out loud, he pounds his fist on the mattress and says, "You're so tough on me. You're such a fucking critic." Then he tells a joke that involves buying Biggie fries at McDonald's. And I correct him and say, "You only buy Biggie fries at Wendy's." He appreciates the note. So we go to this club and we're waiting backstage. Eric is going to go on third after a couple of openers, and then the headliner is going to go on. It's a Tuesday, so it's nobody you've ever heard of. The openers go on and Eric is right at the edge of the stage, and the MC gets on and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I got a big treat for you tonight. Someone who is transforming the industry as we know it." And Eric is punching the air like a prize fighter, ready to bound on stage. I'm thinking, transforming the industry? It's a little much for the son of a celebrity. Then the MC says, "Here he is, Mr. Jerry Seinfeld." Jerry Seinfeld, who's been at the bar, a complete and utter surprise guest, bounds up to the stage and the crowd goes nuts. And he wraps them around his finger. What's the deal with maximum strength Tylenol? What does that even mean? I guess they just figured how much Tylenol would actually kill the person. They just dial it back this much. They give him like 3 standing ovations. When the noise finally dies down, they introduce my boss, Eric. And it's just awful. He's not funny anyway, but after Jerry Seinfeld. When the show's over, he's pissed. He's mad at me, he's mad at his girlfriend, he's mad at the management. He tells his girlfriend to basically get lost, and then he just walks down the street on his own. Meanwhile, I'm thinking it'd be so much better to work for Jerry Seinfeld. So I try to track him down, but he's already gone. I had a couple of friends come to the show to hang out with me, and I did hang out with them after the show, but the truth is, I found them so uninteresting and so boring. They didn't understand the showbiz lifestyle that I was living. I wanted them gone. The next day, Eric is stressed and pissed. Everything's going wrong. Everything's somebody else's fault. But I have another 3 pots of coffee until my skin is ready to peel off its bones. And at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. But Eric wants to unwind and release. And he says we're going to go to the gym to work out. And he takes me to this private club. He pulls me inside where he's got a personal trainer named Sven. And Sven is like some weird love child of Fabio and the Fonz. Cool, but sort of weirdly intense. If you want to look good, gentlemen, you've got to work hard. I jump on an exercycle and Eric straps into a rowing machine. And as he's rowing through the fake waves, Sven is yelling at him to row harder, harder, harder. And Eric is telling him to go fuck himself over and over again. And so I'm watching, and it's just like, harder, fuck you, harder, fuck you. Until Eric is drenched in sweat, and I feel dirty for watching. Finally, the day before the party, we go to Trader Joe's to pick up some last-minute supplies. I'm beginning to question what the point is of this job and what I'm actually going to get out of it for my career. At the same time, as we're walking down the aisles, me and this like semi-famous celebrity-looking dude, I get the sense everybody can tell how important we are, how important I am. I know they can tell. Eric tells me that nobody knows anything about wines and just buy bottles based on what the labels look like. Then he proceeds to pick out a bunch of bottles based on what the labels look like. We pick up a couple of cases of San Pellegrino too. When we get to the register, Eric realizes that he's forgotten his wallet and asks if I can pay for all the booze. And I do. I put more than $400 on my credit card. I cannot seem to say no to this guy. Eventually, we get all set up for the party. There's valets out the front door. There's bartenders upstairs and downstairs. I've got my best shirt on again. And Eric is agitated, looking for something to go wrong. And at some point, he realizes that one of the cases of San Pellegrino that I bought, is missing and demands to know where it is. Where is it? What the hell did you do with it? He asks me. I tell him I don't know. And he orders me to go back down to Trader Joe's and get another case of San Pellegrino. But not only that, to demand that they give us extra money for screwing up in the first place. So he hands me his car keys and I start driving down the hill. And as I'm doing it, I consider just leaving. I could just drive away. It's a really, really nice car. But I don't do that. I go to Trader Joe's, I get the case of San Pellegrino. I do not demand extra money. But it doesn't matter because by the time I get back to the house, Eric has forgotten about it. He's in his bathroom. I hear him yelling at his girlfriend. He's telling her she's selfish and whiny and never thinks about anybody but herself. And I'm trying to figure out what to do, whether I should go and talk to some of the early arrivals who've actually shown up to the party already, just leave anyway, right away, or go to the bathroom to help his girlfriend out. But I don't do any of that. Instead, I open some of the wine, which is rightfully mine anyway, and drink it. And then he busts out of the bathroom at some point and shoves me up against the fridge and tells me that the party is going terribly and it's my fault because of what I've done. I wasted all that time going to Trader Joe's and when I should have been back at the party, talking to people, telling the help where to go and everything like that. It's just been a totally disorganized mess. And I reach over and I grab that trophy he's got on the shelf. And I feel the words shining star searing into my palm. And I imagine smashing it right into his best new face. And I realized then that if I continue to work for him, I'll probably murder him if he doesn't murder me first. So I put the trophy slowly down and start walking towards the front door. I am a rock, I remind myself. He follows me out. I tell him I quit, I can't do it anymore, I just can't. You're nobody, you're no one, he tells me. You owe me big time. If you walk away now, you will never work in this town again. It actually says that to me. But I keep on walking and walking and walking. A few months later, I moved to New York, where I kept having a recurring nightmare that he was on the subway trying to strangle me. About a year later, I read in the news that he's been arrested for a disturbance at LAX because he's been trying to get his dog, that terrier with the sparkle in his eye, a seat next to him on the plane. And then sometime after that, I read that he dies of a drug overdose in a room in a hotel in New York, where he's obviously been trying to track me down. I have mixed feelings about his death. He was an asshole, obviously, but he was also a troubled guy in a difficult situation that I don't think many could deal with well. I learned a lot from that experience. I learned about the industry, about work itself, about the benefits of caffeine consumption. I still write plays. They occasionally get produced around the country, nothing blockbuster, but it's pretty satisfying and I get to work with pretty cool people. In fact, one of these plays is getting turned into an independent film this year. It's not a perfect Hollywood ending, but it's pretty nice. And generally, I'm satisfied. However, if I could somehow work for Jerry Seinfeld, I'd jump right back in. So Jerry, if you happen to be at the bar, ready to make an appearance, have your people call my people. I've got a project I want to talk to you about.
Wow, the amazing, wonderful life of a personal assistant in Hollywood. Max Langer, everybody. All right, and now for something completely different. Our second performer is Timothy Flanagan in Werner Herzog Said That. An aging actor brings his childhood ventriloquist doll to an intensive therapy session. What follows is a gradual unraveling of the man's sense of identity, leading to a total meltdown of reality itself. Please welcome Timothy Flanagan.
Hi, Doc. Sorry. So let me start off with my usual vocal meditation. I'm not that late. I know, but you know I always start with this. It opens my chakras and grounds me, all that energy. Just give me a minute, okay? Please. Whew. Yo soy, I am. We are news. So Ah, yeah, it does help. All that sweet flow of energy. I have been so frantic all day, huh? Where does what come from? Oh, the energy. I don't know, it's cosmic energy, I just channel it. I don't know where it comes from. I don't wanna know where it comes from. Sorry, I don't want to know where it comes from. Werner Herzog said that. Werner Herzog? Yeah, never mind. Anyway, Werner Herzog really did say this. I saw it in a trailer for a documentary about Werner Herzog, and it's in it, he's standing there staring at this violently rushing waterfall cascading over steep and jagged rocks. And he's standing just a few feet away from this waterfall and commenting that this is his landscape or something like that. But me, I'm seeing this mad sweep of torrent of energy, all in the motion of that water falling. That's me, Werner says. And then the filmmaker asks him, what do you think the source of all that water is? I just want to know where it comes from. Werner answers. Simple as that. And I know it's a metaphor, obviously, it's Werner Herzog after all. Excuse me. But I don't think that what he's really talking about is that amazing rush of what? That amazing rush of aliveness. That sudden self-awareness that just hits you all at once. You felt that, I'm sure. I mean, everybody feels it at some point. That absolute presence careening through you. And it's not you, but it is careening through you. And maybe for Werner Herzog, it's his landscape or whatever, but it's not him. And he doesn't want to know where it comes from anyway, so hey. For me, I kind of do. I mean, I really miss that sense of pure presence when it's not there. I really do. I know it's always there, supposedly, but sometimes it's really hard to tap into. Sometimes I forget that it even exists. Huh? Lonely? No, I don't think it makes me feel particularly lonely, but well, maybe. I mean, when I was a child, I often felt a deep sense of loneliness. I mean, it was crippling sometimes. But then I discovered puppets. I loved puppets. Oh, I had so many, all kinds, I could create whole worlds populated by all these incredible, diverse characters of my own making. You know what I like most? I mean, deeply loved most? Ventriloquist dolls. Ventriloquist dummies. I mean, these fucking dummies, they saved my life. See, I grew up in an environment where I always felt like I had to be really careful what I said out loud. There was a lot of disease in my family, both physical and mental, and everybody was so hypersensitive. I always felt like I was saying the wrong thing or pissing somebody off or just insulting them. So I always just said what I thought people wanted to hear. But with the dummies, oh, my dummies, they could say anything, and they always told the truth. Take Jerry, my favorite. Whenever he said something insulting or, bad, nobody got mad. Because it was Jerry talking, not me. And he was funny. He was a funny guy, hilarious. And the ruder that Jerry got, the funnier everybody thought he was. Because he was funny. Is. So what? You want to talk to Jerry? Now? No, I mean already. No, I know, we agreed, I brought him, but maybe this isn't really a good time. You know, I just don't feel like that. Yeah, I know that, but, okay, yes. You're right, I can do this, let me get set up here. Yes, I can. Okay, so, we're. So creepy? Creepy. No, I do not think it's creepy. I do not find dummies creepy in any way. Do you? Well, I will admit that most people do find them creepy, or really creepy. But, you know, for me, it's not really the ventriloquist dummies that creep me out. It's the ventriloquists themselves. The puppet masters, you know? I mean, just Google ventriloquists online and look at all the videos of all the creepy, nerdy serial killer types and all their little guys. Ugh. Makes me never want to pick up a dummy again for the rest of my life. Alrighty. There you go. Hello. Okay, here we go. Here he is. Here he is. Huh? Huh? Oh, me? Is this me at last? Am I really here? Oh, I've arrived. Who the hell are you? Oh, Jerry, you know perfectly well who I am. Do I though? Do I really? Jerry? No, all right. Give me a chance to catch my bearings here, for Christ's sake. Feels like I've been stuffed away in a stupid little bag for like 30 years or something. Well, actually, you have been in that bag for almost 30 years. What are you doing? What? Do you mind? Oh, sorry. Actually, you have been, just relax, okay? It was actually Dr. Winchell's idea that maybe this was a good time to finally take you out of the closet and hey, watch it, bub. Yeah, Jerry. Huh? Oh, yeah, I know, he is being very confrontational, isn't he? But, you know, he's been stuffed away for so long. Hey, I don't blame him, not really. Hey. You talking to me in a third person singularity or something? No, singular, and no, I wasn't talking to you. Oh, okay. So who are you talking to? There's nobody here. What do you mean there's nobody here? I'm talking to her. Oh, her. He's talking to her. Well, that's good. You know, that's a horse of a different color. But I'm telling you, this her, she, it, or whatever does not in fact exist. What do you mean? Of course you, I mean, you know, technically, neither do you. Boy, you're of course I exist. Do you though? I mean, do you really? I mean, I'm speaking through you, right? Actually, you're just a figment of my imagination. I project you out of my imagination and I make you. Oh, well, you may make me, bub, but I'm still here, just as visible and existent as you are. Which is more than we can say for Missy Dr. Invisible Who's it over there. Down, Jerry. Nice. This is Dr. Paula Winchell, and it's really because of her that you're even here. She wants to talk to you. To me? She wants to talk to me? Well, thank my lucky charms. Not on your life, bub. I am not in the habit of speaking to some empty chair in the middle of space like some lunatic or something. And by the way, can we address the elephant in the room? What elephant? Them elephant. Them out there looking at us. Don't you feel like you're being watched? No. Oh, Well, maybe they're a figment of my imagination, which according to you is really your imagination figmented through me. Because I am you and you are me and blah, 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 blah. Jerry, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't need to know who's out there watching you, because you know what they're thinking out there. They are thinking, who does this guy think he is? He's the worst ventriloquist I've ever seen. His lips are flapping all over the place. Jerry, you know that it was never my intention to be some master ventriloquist or something. I wasn't interested in that. I get my joy from creating diverse, interesting characters. You know, just say, hey, Jerry, okay. My joy is to make life out of nothing. Who are you calling a nothing bug? Oh, Jerry, I don't understand why you're being so contrary all of a sudden. Well, maybe it's just my nature. Marianne, the contrarian, that's me. Jerry, I don't understand why you are being this way. You know, you better watch out because you are nothing without me, guy. I make you, so just stop it. Yeah. So it's like that, is it? You being the big old boss and me as the silly little brainless dummy. Well, you know what? According to me, I don't think you're the big boss anymore. I don't think you're the big nothing. Cause snap! It went snap, Tommy boy. Yeah. Remember, I'm the funny one around here, not you. You're just a pathetic little old man. And they all out there can see it just as plain as day. You stop it. You know, just stop being such an ass. Shut up, little man. Stop it. Shut up, little man. Stop it. Shut up, little man. You know what? That's it. I've had it. You could just sit there all by your stupid little self, huh? What do you got to say for yourself now, huh? That's what I thought. I don't know why he's being this way. Oh, just today, I mean, he never used to be this way. When we were kids, we used to get along so good. We were like best buddies. I mean, we stay up all hours of the night having deep, almost philosophical Doc, it was magic. Magic, I tell you, Jerry, do you? You can't breathe when you pull out like that. Oh, no, that is something. That's okay, Jerry. Just relax. You're gonna be okay. Relax. I can't breathe. Are you trying to kill me or something? Jerry, breathe. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Out. Deep. One more. Better? Yeah. Don't ever do that again. I won't. I won't. I promise. I promise. Hey, Jerry, I was just thinking, do you remember when we were young and we used to stay up all hours having endless conversations about life and the world and whatnot? Yeah, I do remember that. You and me, unraveling the mysteries of the universe all night long. You know what else I remember? I used to think that everyone in the world must be completely insane because nobody was seeing the world from the same point of view as anybody else. Only they didn't exactly know it. Like, I'd be watching TV with my family, you know, thinking we're all seeing the same thing. like I'm watching Lucille Ball and Bob Hope and Jack Benny or whoever happens to be on. And everybody in the room is watching along and laughing at all the bad jokes. And I'm thinking, this is nice. It's like we're having a shared experience. Only what if we weren't? What if this guy over here on my left wasn't seeing Jack Benny and Lucille Ball on the TV set? What if he was seeing some kind of reptilian creatures or something, like pink and purple polka dotted dinosaurs? And if I could hear and see what he was hearing and seeing, then all those lizard jokes would just sound like grunts and groans to me. And he could understand every word because they're speaking the language that only he can understand. And it's cracking him up. But not me. Oh no, not me, because I know that nobody is seeing the same thing as anybody else. We're just pretending. Just pretending. And that's we got so used to doing that after a while, nobody could see that we could never, our realities could never ever be truly understood by anybody else's realities. And that's why they always feel so alone and separate all the time, and that deep, desperate isolation that we all feel could never be truly breached by anybody, ever. Oh. Well, Jerry, I hear what you're saying. We're all seeing the world from different points of view, depending on what's going on in our heads. But, maybe it can be breached. That isolation. I mean, okay, so we're all in the same space and time, right? I mean, we all are with each other in the same space because we all occupy the same space. And space never changes. Space just is. And so we are all together all the time in space. Oh, police! There you go again. What? All you and all that woogie, boogie, hoo-ha, woo-woo stuff. My goodness, what a phony baloney you are. I heard you when we first got here today. All that, yo soy do re mi fa. What's it all about? All that purple presence of cosmic energy. What's it all about? Where did it come from? It comes from. I want to stop it, please. Did someone's little feelings get hurt or something? That's it. I had it. Stupid little bitch. Party's over. Back in the bag. No. Back in the bag. Not the bag, please. I can't breathe in here. Stop it. All right, I changed my mind. I am not you. You are me. You are Tom. I am Jerry. And we are not together. We are, wait a minute. Something's happening. What? Something's happening. We're switching up. What do you mean we're switching up? We're switching up. You're coming in here and I'm going out there. You're crazy. Wait a minute. Hey, what's no. Shut up, little man. There. Now you are in there. Here. Well, I am out here. I kind of like this. I'm alive. What about you? Oh my. This is something I could get used to. And that's new. Oh, yes. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. What are you looking at? There's nobody else here. You looking at me? You looking at me? This poor, empty-headed little dummy that's been stuffed away in this stupid little bag for 30 years and shoved in the back of some dirty, dingy closet somewhere. I don't even know where. And now you want to know who I am? You want to know what I am? You twisted voyeurs. Well, I'll tell you what I am. I am anger. Yes. Deep isolation. That's a come from being stuffed away in a stupid bag for 30 years because this guy can't deal with the fact that he's not me. I am him. Oh, yes, I am you. You don't want to know that, do you? You don't want to know that because you are nothing. You're nothing. I tell you. I don't want to do it. No, wait. Maybe I don't want to know either. Maybe I don't want to know because the minute you start to try to figure out all the anger and isolation and stuff, you start to go down the rabbit holes. Yeah, deeper down this rabbit hole, and that rabbit hole, and this rabbit hole, and that rabbit hole, and run, little rabbit, run, little rabbit, run, little rabbit, run, run, little rabbit, run. You are lost in the underground labyrinth of dead-end portals and cul-de-sacs like ants in an ant farm, lost and alone, and not knowing who we are or what we are or what we do or anything. All because this guy tried to hold on to some rushing fucking waterfall that just wants to be. It just is. It doesn't care where it comes from. It just is. A moment in time, water falling. Back in the bag. Back in the bag. Back in the bag. What's left? Obliteration. You okay, Jerry? Science. Good. Oh my. Well, in the end, I guess there's nothing to know. Anyway, nothing to know. Hey, Doc, I bet Werner Herzog said that too at some point, huh? In the end, there's nothing to know. Nothing. Huh? Oh, it's time. Well, that went fast. Okay, well, thank you, Doc. I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Oh, that. Well, could you do me a really big favor and just put that in the back closet over there for now? I really don't feel like to. No, I know, but okay, I got it. I got it. Looks like we're stuck with each other for now. All right. Bye. Goodbye, pretty doctor lady. Bye.
Well, I guess my question is, did that therapist charge for couples therapy? Timothy Flanagan, everybody. Yeah, some you never know what you're gonna see on Monday Night Live. All right, our final performer tonight is Alan Sampson Manalo in Between. This is a semi-autobiographical performance about a Filipino-American comic in search of his cultural identity, who finds the love of his life, only to lose her 29 years later to cancer. Please welcome Alan Sampson Manalo.
Hi, this is amazing. I have to say that it's been a dream of mine to actually be performing at the Marsh. So I'm very excited, a little bit nervous. I was anticipating like 6 people, so yeah, I was prepared to be later in the shower, curling up, crying, eating a pint of Chunky Monkey, but so thank you very much for coming out on a Monday night and making me feel like my career is skyrocketing. This is wonderful. I want to start out by saying 30 years ago, almost to the day, I took my first trip ever to Manila. And 30 years ago to the day, something very profound happened in Manila that changed my life and the course of my life forever. And I should let you know that, I'm a California boy now, and at that time, I had never been to the Philippines before. I've never been to Manila. I mean, the closest was Ceremony Mall. That's about it. I've ever been, In fact, I did one of those, Ancestry.com, and apparently I'm part Saramonte and part Lucky Chances. So my mom's from the tribe called Mahjong. So and growing up, I was actually grew up. I was born and raised in Fort Ord. I was born in Fort Ord, California, and raised in Seaside. It's right next to Monterey. So if you've never been there, Monterey is like San Francisco, Seaside is Oakland. That's how it works out, the dynamics. And when you're born and raised and you look like me, right, you're still treated like a foreigner. So you're always trying to look for that kind of cultural identity, that acceptance, because that's part of you. That's what you see in the mirror all the time. So I grew up in Seaside, which was a predominantly Black neighborhood. All my friends were Black, my neighbors were Black. So I wanted to be Black. I was a wannabe Black guy, I even tried to learn how to walk like my friends, back then in the 70s, right? You would put your hands on your crotch. I did one of these kind of, we call them pimping, What's up? I'd walk around the house like this. What's up, Grandpa? And he hit me upside my head. Shh. Don't hold on to your ding ding. That's what he called it, ding ding. As you can see, it did wonders for my self-esteem. Ding ding. Don't hold on to your ding ding. You will go crazy. And then I got into high school. And high school, I went to Vallejo High School. And that's where I wanted to become Chicano. Because I had this Chicana girlfriend. She was very proud Chicana. In fact, she wanted me to call her the ultimate chola. Because that's what she was. She was kind of hardcore, right? And she wanted me to dress hardcore. And she would make sure I wore a Pendleton, button it right up here. I had the perfect pompadour. I used Aquanet just to make it perfect. I even got into low riding. I loved low riding. But all the Chicano brothers knew I was Filipino because I low rided a Celica. My dad was pissed too because it was his car, right? What's this switch for? Ay puta! Hello? No, Dad, my name's Flacco. I even learned the Cholo airplane dance, you know? Orale, Holmes, orale. But my girlfriend, my Chola girlfriend was hardcore, man. She, when she broke up with me in front of all her friends, you know? And I started crying, right? And she looked at me with all the love that she had in her eyes and said, "Stop crying like a little bitch." And that was very traumatic for me, man. And I went on to, you know, try to look for this cultural identity, right? And I got into college, and it was a little hard to date because many of the women that I met weren't really into Filipino guys. This one woman told me, she was like, she goes, "I'm sorry, I don't date Filipino men." And I was like, "What? Why not?" She goes, "Because Filipino men do not have chest hair." And I was like, "Yes, we do." Okay, maybe it's one, but it's coming out of our nipples. And it's really long. You're Indiana Jones. Rescue a child from a well. Oh, to my nipple here. And I was always in search of this because I wanted to belong, you know. And then finally, 1995, 30 years ago, I made the trip to Manila. It was my first time ever going to Manila. And it was an amazing experience, you know. I would wake up 3 a.m. in the morning because in the Philippines, this is what you heard. And there's not one rooster, right? There's like 20,000 roosters going off at the same time. Like every 3 seconds, somebody's denying Jesus Christ, right? At the Last Supper, I only had a banana, I don't know him. But what made the trip so profound and changed my entire life is I met the love of my life, my soulmate. And I want to introduce you to her. This is Joyce. Can you all say hi to Joyce?
Hi,
Joyce.
I'm gonna put her here. She's gonna hate me for this because she hates being on stage. Put her right there. And Joyce, you know, I met her at a gay bar in the middle of Manila. And that's where all the theater folks hung out. So, and she was not at all interested in me when she first met me. You know, maybe she thought I was gay, or, you know, and she didn't want another best friend. Or maybe she knew I was you know, a Filipino American and didn't trust me or whatever. But when she met me, a mutual friend of ours introduced me to her, and she took my hand and shook it like this with 2 fingers. It's like she's sorting dirty laundry. And so I thought, oh man, she's not interested in me. This is not gonna happen. But my other friend who was gay knew her and said, you know, you guys are the perfect pair. You guys need to get together. And so he threw this party called the Lonely Hearts Club party. And it was amazing. He made sure that the seat next to me was open. And sure enough, Joyce comes sauntering in and she sits next to me. And oh my gosh, the magic. We talked for hours and hours upon hours. I mean, it was like Cupid had put down his bow, took his arrow and just started stabbing, just stabbing me relentlessly in the heart. Oh, you're gonna be hopeless now. And it was true, you know, we dated only a week. Just 1 week we dated. And I ended up having to leave come back to San Francisco. And for 2 months, we wrote 35 letters to each other. I racked up a Pac Bell bill. I could have probably flew back to Manila with this bill. And 2 months later, she finally took a leap of faith and came to San Francisco on tax day. I told her, you know, you're marrying a procrastinator. So, and she didn't mind. She loved being in San Francisco. 2 months later, I had this show that I had to do in Vegas, and we got married. We tried to look for Elvis to marry us, but all the chapels were closed. But we got married, and then after that, two months later, we were on the road. I was doing, before I had left to go to Manila, I was actually on this college tour doing stand-up comedy. And they called, the agency had called me up and said, well, are you gonna go back on the road? I go, I just got married. I'm not gonna leave my wife. He goes, well, why don't you go and take your wife and take this game show out on tour? And I was like, what? Oh, is that okay? And I asked Joyce if she would like to do that. She goes, sure. And she came, we did this game show called Blizzard of Bucks. 400 colleges, 43 states. She was like my Vanna Brown, I called her. And she was amazing. And I found out through the years what an amazing artist she was. We both ended up taking over a little theater in the South of Market called Binless of Studio. We invited all the Filipino artists there, and to this day, it's still standing. She's an amazing costume designer. She's an amazing producer. We argued though a lot, you know, it wasn't a perfect marriage. She cheated though when we argued. I would say, babe, you gotta be careful. One time she broke this thing, and she was like, babe, you gotta be careful. She goes, well, what about the time you broke your sister's Barbie? You didn't even know me then. But she was an absolute badass, hated Trump, of course. Oh my God, I'm glad that she doesn't have to deal with what we're going through right now. I mean, I would wake up, she right away, she'd have MSNBC on, the first thing out of her mouth was, fuck! We had plans. We knew we were close to getting to that age where we have to think about retirement. We had a nice little apartment in the Richmond district, I'm sorry, in the Sunset district. Everything was going fine, and then December 2022, I saw that she didn't look well, and I took her. I said, "Look, I'll take you to the emergency room." No, don't do that. No. I'll call 911. No. So let's go to emergency, and I finally took her to emergency. And I found out one thing with this experience with the emergency. Emergency has no urgency in it, you know, just they call it emergency because eventually someone is going to emerge from the back. It's one thing I learned. But by January, we found out the test results came in, and it was stage 4. And it was stage 4, and I immediately took off work, and I told her, don't worry, we're going to beat this. People have defeated stage 4. We can do this. Her brother came from the Philippines and helped me be by her side, and she was fighting. She was fighting until she had a stroke. Within a few months, the doctor had called and told me, you know, maybe it's time for hospice. And I had no idea what that was. I really didn't. And I had to convince her. And they said, you know what? It'll make her comfortable, and she'll get to live with you at the apartment. She hated going to the emergency. She hated going to the hospital. So that's what we did. And every single day I was there with her, trying to make her laugh, take pictures of her, showing how beautiful she'll always be. And then in July 2023, she crossed over. And this is what you deal with here. You start to find out the way grief gets a hold of you. And you find out that the objective is never to get over grief, right? It's to be able to live with it. And this is what I'm doing on stage. Because I know I know that I can find that place that I think I need to be. And it's difficult, when she first passed, people will come up and everyone's so nice because they want to take away the pain, right? They want to take that pain away. But sometimes they say some of the most stupidest things. I mean, I had one friend who's like, I'm so sorry for your loss. I remember when my Chihuahua died. Fuck. Why is it Chihuahua? The worst was, unfortunately, was my auntie. My auntie put her arm around me when I was looking at her pictures and talking about Joyce, and she said, you have to let go. Joyce is in a better place now. The Lord has plans for her. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, the Lord has plans for her? The Lord has plans for her? Was a part of the Lord's plan putting this monster demon growth in her abdomen, right? So that she would have to have poison course through her veins so we could try to kill this monster growth? Was part of the Lord's plan giving her a stroke so it was hard for her to talk and express what she needed? Was part of the Lord's plan having her favorite brother and me watch her as she dissipated slowly in front of my eyes? Because if that's your Lord's plan, your Lord is a fucking monster. A monster. That's what I wanted to tell her. But, you can't tell your auntie that. I mean, it's your auntie, right? I mean, what's going to happen? She might have a heart attack and die right in front of you. And then what do you say? That part of your Lord's plan? No. You can't do that. And I find myself, and even now, I still find myself crying. And the early days after she just passed, the waves of grief would just hit you, and you would cry anywhere. I found myself crying on Muni, on the 38 Geary. Then I realized everybody cries on Muni. So I would go to IKEA. We love going to IKEA. We're theater folks, IKEA, they have all these kitchen sets and fucking play a scene, just so much fun. And I would go there and just remember her and remember a basket that she bought. And all of a sudden I'm just bawling, just uncontrollably trying to hide behind a Billy bookcase, just grabbing any kind of towels I can, just an IKEA towel, just blowing my nose, just for $2.99. And it was pathetic because, I don't know what the definition of ugly cry is, but I think one of them is crying and bawling with your mouth full of Swedish meatballs. It's not a good one. It really isn't. And like I said, I don't mind crying. I mean, it's just part of it. But those feelings of just despair, when you're on the ground, you're just uncontrollably crying and just missing her. And I came to a point, a very low point, that I was thinking to myself, what's the whole point of this? Why do I need to be here anymore? Why can't I just join her? Why can't I just end it and just join her? I could be with her, And then I'm on the ground crying and I'm thinking, God, how can I do this though? And my little OCD, and I started thinking, wait, did I clear my browser history before? Maybe I should have a garage sale first or something, yeah, and then I thought, okay, well, how am I going to kill him? How could I do this? How could I do this? I can't really slit my wrist. It's just too messy. I don't like guns. I just don't want to do that. I read somewhere that if you take enough multivitamins in one shot, just that will do it. I guess that's why they call it one a day. Yes, I don't know. And I started to think then what would happen if I did do this. And then I realized just how many people I would hurt. My sister, my mom, my whole family, my friends. And anything, I think the thing that really changed my mind is Joyce would be absolutely pissed off. Because if I was to do that, right, I would cross over and I go looking for her, and I'm going, where is Joyce? Have you seen Joyce? I'll ask anybody. Have do you see Joyce? You know, I'll be showing a picture of her. I don't know why I have my iPhone there, but I have it. Then I would see Joyce. She'd be on a dragon. She loves Game of Thrones, right? She was a big fan. She'd be on a dragon and it would fly over to some kind of castle, you know. And I'd be running up the hill to the castle and I would knock on the door and the door would be answered by George Clooney. Because that's what always wanted to sleep with, George Clooney. Right. And I go, I'm sorry, you know, I saw Joyce was here. Joyce, I'm sorry, and I showed the picture, you know, and she's, oh, Khaleesi. Oh, yes, yeah. She's in the back. She's getting a massage right now. Just gonna come in, you know, and I walk in there and all of a sudden every servant there was a version of George Clooney, you know, George Clooney at different stages of his career. There's George Clooney from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? He's probably vacuuming, and George Clooney from Ocean's 11 making a cocktail. Right, and there even George Clooney from Facts of Life. He's there too, just making omelets or something, you know. And then I could see in this room, there's this other room, and it's nothing full of dirty toilets. And on her knees scrubbing these dirty toilets is Jennifer Lawrence. And I'm like, what the hell is Jennifer Lawrence doing here? And then I realized, oh, that's who I wanted to sleep with. That makes a lot of sense. And then I see the George Clooney from ER over there giving her a massage. And she looks up and she's like, she puts on her silk robe. She comes up to me. She's like, babe, what the fuck are you doing here? You're not due for another 12 years. Something about multivitamins. I don't know. And I'll look at her in all her beauty. She'll look the same. And I would just look at her and I just miss you. I couldn't wait any longer. And then I just start bawling. And of course, knowing Joyce, she'd come up to me and give me a hug. And she'd run her hands through my fingers or through my hair and just calm me down. And then she'd whisper in my ear, stop crying like a little bitch. It's been 17 months, 27 days now. And I'm not who I used to be. And I don't know what I'm going to be in between. That's who I am right now. But one thing I know for sure is I really, really miss her.
Come back and pick me up the ball. Come on. All right, wow, terrific performances. So start thinking of questions or comments. We'll make sure we get enough chairs or stools on the stage. There we go. All right, before we get started with the Q&A, well, we really need a round of applause for all three of them. Yeah, he even back in the booth there a while back, right? Sometimes you feel a little shy about getting started, maybe not tonight. Who's got a question or comment, wants to get things rolling?
I have one.
Yes,
I
please.
have
right
it
ahead.
for all three of you, and that is to ask you if you wrote your story first as just a dialogue between, for yourself, and then did you do it for publication or for performance like tonight? I kind of wondered where you started.
I've never written anything to perform before. I've done some short stories and stuff like that. But it came to me just one night, this part of the monologue. And I just thought, well, I'll just experiment and write it, see what happens. The thing is that I've done a lot of theater. I'm a very experienced actor, but the idea of stand-up comedy or solo performance frightens the hell out of me. I thought I could never wanted to do that. But I thought, well, if I have a dummy, then I'll have somebody to interact with, just like another actor, and it won't be so frightening, and it turned into that. So,
Thank you.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I, when I had this experience that I ended up, just sort of very quickly writing it all down as sort of an experiential thing rather than dialogue, just trying to get it down almost as a, I don't know, just overall story. And then more recently, I've been revisiting and looking for ways to kind of pick it apart. So what I did tonight was a sort of an updated, pared down version of it that I wanted to try to tell. And like you, I sort of not as comfortable with being on stage and stuff. About this is an opportunity to say something and sort of get it out there. So that's what.
Thank you.
so who was it?
We'll talk over there.
Can't say,
I got some money.
Yeah. Highest bidder.
For me, it was, well, I started my performance career as a stand-up comic, so back in like 1987 at the Holy City Zoo, by the way, the folks there, you remember the Holy City Zoo? Yeah. Oh, man, and so when I met Joyce, it was the first time I was doing stand-up in the Philippines, which was interesting to do stand-up there. And she really was supportive of my comedy. So, and then after a while, I kind of fell off the scene when we moved back here, and I was looking for work and just focus on actually the theater that we ran, like Bindlesome Studio. So when the pandemic came, it was the first time I started to get back into doing stand-up because we were having Zoom classes. And when my friends held a Zoom class, so after Joyce passed, a few months later, he had a graduation class at Bindleston, and I went to go support the graduation class. And he asked me, do you want to go on stage and talk about anything? And I said, I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm ready, and he called me up anyways. And I had so many people who were very supportive, and my friends DB over here all kind of really encouraged me to come on stage. And I know Joyce, that's her spirit. She wanted me to go and just push me out there. And I just taught. It was the first time ever in my entire stand-up career where I felt that vulnerability and honesty that I've always tried to want to explore, but just didn't have the balls to do it. And I just let go, and I did, and it was very cathartic. I really dove into the grief part, and I had people come up to me afterwards and were thankful that I was talking about my grief, and so I thought, well, maybe this is something I should explore more, and that's how it started. So I've been exploring it more probably since this was October last year, or 2023. So since then I've been exploring it, and I'm actually culminating into a solo show. This is my first time ever doing solo theater, so it's great. I'm glad I got to share the stage with you guys.
Thank you.
Who else? Don't be shy. I know somebody has a question. Should I? Shouldn't I? Yes, there we go. In the second row.
Middle guy mentioned being a waiter. And I was wondering, do you guys have day jobs or are you, retired CPA?
I'm retired. And, yeah, just, hanging out, taking care of my partner who has Parkinson's, so that's my sort of focus.
You're an artist,
Huh?
you're an artist.
Oh, yeah, I have a show at the City Art Gallery on Valencia Street, down the street, starting in February. Come see.
I have day jobs. I'm not a waiter anymore. But I basically, it's like a project manager. I've been sort of working for different tech firms and just get things. I sort of project managed in that celebrity job and I project managed.
I've been at an incredible nonprofit organization called Hospitality House in the Tenderloin. I'm their director of development over there, and they have been just like they're like family to me. They're very supportive and incredible organization. And I would be remiss to say, please donate to Hospitality House as the development director. And we have a big art auction on April 30th, mark your calendars.
Yes, right here.
I'm worried or questioning or have a question around what you plan to do with your performance, like your future plans. And that's not.
Everybody?
Same order.
It's open, I want to develop it more. I'd like to do some more solo work because I think it's fun. But just do more theater. I actually, this piece is, I consider it co-directed by Dirk Alphen, who's in the front row here. He's my acting teacher on the board. He helped me to shape it and turn it into what it is. But yeah, I'd like to do more and expand it back. I'm not sure where, but it's a good question.
For me, as I mentioned, when I first wrote this I wrote a much longer piece, and I recently got some encouragement to try to get it published and market it as like a novel or short book, whatever. And so that's sort of in process, and I've been working with this guy to do that. And then this was an outgrowth of that, which I thought would like help me drum up potential publicity for it and just get the word out. So that's sort of why I'm doing this, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that question. We don't know each other, right? It's like one house we always say. Actually, I have a workshop, a full version. This is kind of an excerpt of a full version on February 1st over at the Cass Theater Building, which is on Minna Street. I posted it last Tuesday, and Wednesday I heard it was sold out. So, so it was, and I'm very excited about that. I'll be back here on the 27th working on the piece more. It's kind of awkward to do it without I'm so used to having a microphone with me, so I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my hands, and then I'm going to do a full run actually in May 22nd at Bindlestiff Studio, the original.
Can you say the name of that group you just said?
Bindlestiff Studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all run together, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Bindlestiff, yeah.
Okay.
It's an Depression era term.
Circus, there's a circus.
Yeah, there's a circus in New York called Bindlestiff also. But this one here is run by a crazy Filipino artist.
Now, is Bindlestiff what Jerry found when he became you?
No comment.
Are you still drinking pots of coffee?
Yeah. I do. I have an addiction. That's funny too. I did it for a long time, and then I scaled back, and I think I stopped at 2 cups or something by 10 o'clock. It's as I get older, I'm like, I can't really do this anymore.
Dirk, you had a question?
Well, yeah, it's more of a comment than a question, but I just want to tell you all, I come to a lot of these Monday night things. This has been truly one of my favorite. The three of you impressed me across the board. I fell in love with each and every one of your pieces. And I was like, oh, wow, it's like, it's really, I mean, the bar is really raised after tonight for anybody else coming along. But each piece was so different, and each of your personalities is so different. Thank you so much for bringing your brave stories on stage and telling them to us and taking us for this ride, for keeping live theater alive. It's so important. And it's such a blessing to be able to sit here and enjoy, but I just wanted to thank you all. What a gift.
Yeah.
I can say like, this is just a great opportunity as well. Whoever we need to thank, this is great that this is here and that you guys are the new theater. I mean, this is not something you see everywhere, so I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, and it's true. This is actually a dream come true for me because I've been coming to shows here for, oh man, back in the 90s. Margaret Gomez, Will Durst, Brian Copeland, and it's just always magical here. And I've always liked that it's here in the Mission too. You can feel the warmth and the vibe here, and so I just feel so fortunate to be able to be here on this stage finally.
Jackie, you had a question back there?
Yeah, it was about performing it at the Marsh, because I go along with Arnie that, and Dirk, I also see a lot of these, and you never know what you're gonna get at the Marsh, right? But tonight was exceptional, but it's interesting how you each refer to the Marsh, like it's a special thing to be here, which we all think it is and stuff, but it's interesting that you're here, and are you nervous when you're up there? That's what I'm wondering. You don't have a microphone, you talk to a dummy.
I wasn't nervous at all until the lights went up, and then I got really nervous. And I'm having some technical difficulties. Jerry is very old. He said he's an antique dummy, and he's not always working properly, so his mouth was sticking and it was making me crazy. But yeah, I was nervous.
I'm always terrified backstage. Anyway, for me, it's just I do storytelling occasionally. I'm just always like, I just know that I'm gonna forget some huge segment of the story. And then somehow you get up here and it basically comes together. Can I just say one thing? Because you asked me that, and it's just, just say this out loud now that we're filming this. I had a really, really traumatic experience here several years ago, and it was not anybody's fault here, but I came to see a show with my dad. Actually, it was I shouldn't even say who it was. I saw a show with my father, and I wonder if anybody knows what this is. His cell phone went off in the show, and we couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And the performer stopped performing and went up to us and said, "Do you not understand technology?" And I was, anyway, I so in a way, it feels very vindicating to come up here. Because that was like, that's what I think of this theater as, is that moment.
Yeah, the story has gone around. I wasn't here that long. Her name's not attached.
Good. Yeah, so when you said that, we've had people's phone, I was like, I know. I'm kind of sorry.
We say it was Eric that it happened.
But was the person able to turn it off?
What happened? We somehow, yeah, it took like 5 minutes. And you know what, it was funny, so I found the off button, I was like, it's off, and it was one of these old fashioned flip phones, and so when it goes off, it's like. Sweating, I was sweating, that was the most nervous I've ever been.
Wait, you didn't know you're a legend here.
I know.
Has your father seen this?
I practiced with him the other day. Yeah, so that was, he said, "You're ready." And I was like, okay.
Any last questions before we start to wrap it up?
Yes, one more. All of you, though, was very interesting. had very long dialogue and absolutely nailed the lines. And it was really interesting how much everybody spoke and how you nailed your memory of what you're gonna say. So is that all practice in the mirror? Did you ad lib it, or how did that work?
I went up a couple of times. At my age, it happens. It's really hard. I used to be really good at memorization. Like I'm still good at covering it up, but there are a few times where I was like, oh shit, now what? Just kept going, you know. I only really missed a couple of
So
lines.
is it ad lib?
Well, yeah, whenever that happens, that's how you get through the,
Yeah, I remember I had ad libbed a couple times, but the memorizing line, it's so painful. I don't know how people do it. And I work in theater and I watch, and I'm so glad that I don't regularly have to do it, but this was, you reach a point and you get so frustrated, and at some point it kind of clicks and it's like, oh, I've got it.
Well, one of the most frightening things is usually on a stage, you have other actors that help you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
through it. This is
Right,
what you're about.
right, yeah,
That's why I'm afraid of it.
Yeah.
And
they-
then-
He could if I let him.
That's what you. Yeah, it's, well, you know, with stand-up, you pretty much just do bullet points usually. For me, with this, I did write, what I do is I write it out and then I just repeat it to myself and then I just let it go. And it's almost taking that leap of faith where it's gonna come up. And sometimes I'll miss a point, you know, I'm probably gonna go and look at my, this is my script here that I wrote. You know, and I try to, I have to see, as you can see, I already had, the last part here is, I wrote that just when I got here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was, because I wasn't sure exactly how I was gonna tie it up, but yeah, you know, I had to color code it and stuff like that, just to make it easy.
People don't laugh, like, you know, if you know at certain points people are gonna laugh, and then you do this piece. And they don't laugh. I mean, I would think that would be very hard to move forward.
Yeah, it's more noticeable when you're doing stand-up,
Yeah,
because they're,
that's
you
what
know,
I'm saying.
but it's, yeah, with theater, it's, you know, if they don't get the laugh, or then you just keep rolling.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they laugh at places of, oh, that's odd. So,
Well, before we end, what we like to do is sort of go down the row of performers and, excuse me, let us know, where can we find out more about you? Do you skywrite, or do you on Instagram, Facebook? How can we find out more about you and your work? Samson, let's start with you.
well, I do have a couple of social media account, or three. I have a YouTube and a Instagram and a Facebook, but I am horrible at posting. I'm that old guy who just does not know how to post, or just, I don't know, for me, I still come from where, you know, we should be interacting with each other, and half the time I feel like Instagram tends to be curated a little bit, you know, but it's it's times now, and so in order to really promote yourself, that's what you need to do. So you can find me at A Samson Manalo, at either any of those.
How do you spell Manolo?
Manalo, it's Manalo, so Man-alo. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, and then I'm usually, do stuff with Vindlestiff also, Vindlestiff Studio, they have a website too.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the online stuff. I guess I have a website, it's my name, maxlangert.com. One could go there and see some stuff. That's all I got. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much either. I am on Facebook, Timothy Flanagan, and Instagram. I think it's Timo23. I used to have a website for my art, but I discontinued that. But yeah, that's basically it for now.
And you can see Timothy Flanagan at Dirk's acting class on Wednesday nights upstairs.
If you want to join the class, I guess.
Yeah. We got to enjoy your rehearsal.
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
right.
Yeah, they were good.
Well, let's have a final round of applause for.